Relacje dłuższego telewizyjnej rewolucji Kevin i Olivia na blogosfierze. The international phenomenon. Attack of the Show.
My name is Kevin Pereira. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday, everybody. I'm Living Life. And we are coming to you live from G4 Studios right here in Los Angeles.
On the show today, a small dog becomes a weapon of mass destruction. The force is mostly embarrassed with this one. Then Blair Herter travels to Las Vegas for SEMA, the annual automotive expo that shows off the best in aftermarket car mods. This year's big winner, in-car Wi-Fi. That's not going to cause any accidents, no.
Plus, we'll investigate the MVIX Ultio Media Center.
Fun to say, right?
Really fun. It's a way to stream all your HD media through your PC into your home theater. Find out if the picture is worth the price of Gadgetcon. And Rupert Murdoch, he's going to war against Google. Find out what this means for the internet and who the winners and losers could be in the loop. This guy's always got good moves.
I know.
Always. Time now to run on the top 5 things on the internet.
Let's go around the net. At some point, I think everyone has had a little too much to drink, right? And then hooked up with someone that they wouldn't have looked at twice if they were sober, right?
And usually, it's nothing to really be that ashamed of because you're so drunk, except if you're the guy in today's number 5.
I stopped TiVoing the Dog Whisperer after like the season 2.
The only thing I have to say is, having been there, that guy is an idiot if he thinks that dog's going to call him.
Yeah.
Because they don't.
They don't. No, you're right. They don't. And I don't understand why he did that. I really don't.
Well, it looked like he didn't have much of a choice.
No, I'm talking about the dog.
Oh.
No, I'm serious. The thing can lick its own junk. I mean, the sleepy dude is like a real step down. If you can take care of yourself, why do you need to go scavenging on the side of the road for somebody who's passed out? You know what I'm saying?
Because,
that's
a good point.
Look, I'm just saying, it's just talk, it's just words.
Yeah.
That's all they are. They're just words, Olivia.
And number 4, heavy metal meets classical instrumentation.
This clip comes to us from YouTuber Mandrax77, and he gently uses the girliest of instruments to play the Trooper, which is Iron Maiden's violently rocking ode to battlefield carnage.
Sacrifice to play the harp like that. You have to practice hard, really hard.
Yeah, and give up women. No, I'm serious. Your fingers are too nimble. They're not going to undo a bra or anything anytime soon.
Yeah.
He was so classy with this harp. His sleeveless Iron Maiden tee and backwards baseball cap. Like, he needs to just install a cup holder for his PBR on it, and then he'll be totally set.
Totally done.
He's rocking
and wearing
that.
some flip-flops.
Yeah. Next week it's Lincoln Park on the harpsichord. It's gonna happen.
Oh.
Lincoln harpsichord would be a sweet mashup. That's what I just kind of did. I'm like, Lincoln harp? Yeah.
This is how all of Kevin's brilliant
Get on it,
start.
Chester. Get in there. All right. Today's number 3 item is a Star Wars costume. And you know you just can't show off a Star Wars outfit without John Williams' rousing Imperial March playing. You know that. You've tried.
Yeah.
That was a night.
It's hard. The thing is, it's against the rules of the internet.
Yeah,
it really is. Look it up. Look it up. Here's proof that Vader's army doesn't just take volunteers. It takes everyone, even pets.
Walk around. Walk. Dun 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 dun
That was pretty sweet, actually.
Does that qualify as animal cruelty at all?
Only if he made the dog sit through the prequels, I think is... No, seriously, they're not smart animals, but even they know Jar Jar was a terrible idea. Too soon?
Always too soon. Today's number 2 item is another bit of Star Wars fan love, this time from noted YouTube re-editor 1 Minute Galactica.
Yeah. This guy's brought us several great mashups before. His latest entry is no exception. Here, he's actually using the iconic destruction of Alderaan scene from A New Hope.
Only in this version, the Death Star shoots the same way the Stormtroopers do. Poorly.
Oh.
I have chosen to test this station's destructive power on your home planet of Alderaan. Continue with the operation. You may fire when ready. Fire when ready. Enough of this.
No. Got to recalibrate the thing.
How many people do you think got force choked after that?
All of them. No, the entire Death Star.
All of
them.
Nice. Still ahead, football. Is that how you pronounce it? Football. Football. Football turns into football. We introduce you to the soccer bit.
I see what you do. Oh!
Football.
She's our full contact #1 around the net, and if you don't like it, she's going to punch you in the face. That's an ice pick. To an explosion. Report on a recent women's soccer game between Brigham Young University and the University of New Mexico.
Kevin?
I think I just fell asleep there for a second. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's okay. No, normally no one would blame you. Okay? But listen to this. This particular soccer match definitely made up for the rest of the sports helping of boring.
Yeah, thank you.
And it was all thanks to one player. One player. New Mexico's defender, Elizabeth Lambert.
That's New Mexico defender Elizabeth Lambert. Some questionable plays throughout this game. Here, Payne and Lambert fighting for positional elbow and then a punch in the back. Lambert here fighting through Shumway and Knox. They just keep going on. You know, there's physical, there's rough, as you see, and then on occasion there might be just downright unsporty. And right about here where Lambert grabs Shumway and down Julie Foudy. Where's the line on this kind of rough play, please?
In the women's game, there's even some hair pulling, yes. But, oh my goodness, if you're going to pull someone's ponytail and about to snap their head off with it, that is going over the line.
Sometimes it's... And thus, soccer became interesting.
Now, sadly, Miss Lambert was suspended indefinitely for her actions during the game. But that doesn't mean that we can't honor her here at Attack of the Show.
That's right. Elizabeth Lambert, congratulations. You're now a member of the official Attack of the Show Dick Hall of Fame.
You join the proud pantheon of personified penises, including WGN reporter Pat Tomasulo, who proved his masculinity by slam dunking on a toddler right outside his home.
You will also join the proud and noble eagle who drops helpless animals from the sky for no other reason than to laugh at them before they eat them.
And let us not forget vehicular dicks like Kevin's Widowmaker.
Oh, who could forget?
Which is not only a very inefficient way of traveling, but it is also a sexual harassment lawsuit waiting to happen.
No longer waiting, by the way. No longer waiting. Thank you.
Congratulations.
And of course, Dick Van Patten. Yeah, whose line of organic pet foods is an affordable and healthy food choice for your furry loved ones. What a dick he is.
Miss Lambert, for your work in brutally assaulting your fellow players on the soccer field, making America mildly interested in the sport for a few brief moments. You too will have your jersey hung from the Attack of the Show rafters.
Congratulations. Let's all take a moment as we raise high this symbol of our on-field dickishness. It was incredible stuff. Let's celebrate this tremendous achievement. It's okay. A little bit more. Hard to see.
They never went to single.
SEMA has rolled into Vegas once again, and car makers have turned this aftermarket madhouse into a showcase for their slickest rides and sweetest gear. Showing off the latest in lift kits, rims, and stereos for over 40 years, SEMA has become one of the top spots for automakers to reveal their newest cars and concepts. Explain to me what SEMA is exactly.
SEMA is best known for this annual trade show called the SEMA Show. We're a group of 7,000 plus businesses that manufacture, distribute, and market accessories that enhance the styling and performance of cars, trucks, and SUVs.
We've got a wonderful product here called the Kiwi Wi-Fi, and it's a OBD2 device which connects to your iPhone or iPod Touch. Fully plug and play, takes about 10 seconds to install, and it works with 3 available apps. 3 apps provide racing data, like if you want to get real-time horsepower, you can get all your gauges, you can get all of your engine check parameters. It works with every car in 1996 and later.
Great, and how much is it?
$149.99.
I found my favorite aftermarket accessories. Yes, there's tons of aftermarket products, but turning heads are the cars.
Brandon Leong, one of the builders that participated in this year's annual Tuner Challenge, actually built this XB right here. So his thing was come out with something totally new and creative, and I mean, obviously wanted to make something that hauls a ruckus around. So what better way to do it than make that truck, right?
This was just a normal production, off the production line, Scion XB.
Correct. It just came just like a regular XB that you get at dealerships, and then he decided to chop the rear end off, put the rear end glass back on, move forward, and extended 3 feet.
We're talking the Lexus LFA, and it's going to go into production, correct?
Yes, this is for real. It's going to production of next year, December 2010, as a 2011 model. And we're going to make a very limited amount, 500 globally and 150 for the United States.
Tell me all the specs on it.
4.8-liter V8, 552 horsepower, 352 pounds of torque, 0 to 60 in 3.6 seconds, top speed of 202 miles per hour, carbon fiber chassis and body, 6-speed manual, but you can also drive it in automatic. You can put it in auto mode and it'll shift for you. This is the world's first airbag seatbelt.
Really?
So at 200 miles an hour, if you do get in a crash, this will lessen the secondary impacts, so less contusion on the torso.
I'm assuming there's no base model on this, so what's the sticker price on this car?
It starts at $375.
I'm giving you 45 seconds or so on Attack of the Show. Can you knock down the price to $300 even for me? All right, well, that's all I got from SEMA 2009. I saw some amazing cars, some ridiculous aftermarket accessories. I'm going to head on over to Lexus, see if they can knock a couple $100 off that sticker price.
Get 2. That's the problem. So many cars and so little room in my garage.
Well, if you move that intern cage out of it, then you probably free up a little bit of room.
That's bolted to the foundation. That ain't moving.
Well, then there's nothing you can do. I'm sorry.
Oh, you know, that's fine. I'm not giving up the interns. You know that.
Over the past few months, we've been talking about human wrecking balls.
Enough with the talking. Here's some showing.
Yeah.
Let's do it! Now that we are called the human wrecking balls, everything is about balls. So I mean, imagine, you got brass balls, hairy balls, shaggy balls, little balls, blue balls. We tend to have big balls. We do.
This Wednesday, Human Wrecking Balls returns from all new second season balls.
2 of the most badass gentlemen to ever punch a friggin' helicopter apart will grace your TV this hump day. Also, they say balls a lot.
Check out the all-new G4TV.com/wrecking for the Pumphrey's Break Los Angeles web series, Balls. Still ahead,
balls.
We sent Jeff Wong and Chris Gore to the Asian Underground, and we found Samurai movies.
Then, is Rupert Murdoch crazy like a fox? He's just crazy. Find out what his new scheme to block Google and other search engines from accessing News Corp sites means for the internet. In the loop.
And later on GadgetCon, BitTorrenters rejoice! We'll review the Osio MX 800 Media Center. It allows you to digitize all of your media, drop it onto a hard drive, and then you watch it in 1080p. Looks like it's
that sounds like magic.
It is.
Bollywood. Goddess, Hamle ke show.
What you got?
I got a coconut shrimp and then the quiche salad sampler.
Oh, that's what baby's eating tonight. I'm sorry, I thought you vlogged or something. We're live. News guys here. Olivia.
Not pregnant anymore.
Dear Twitter, Olivia's pregnant.
Not anymore. I just got kicked in the stomach.
Ew. So bloody.
Resume
Time to start the feed. Somebody clean that up, please. It's Monday, November 9th, and here are your top stories. Today, Rupert Murdoch announced that he will likely prevent search engines and aggregators from showing content from News Corp's online newspapers. Now, what that means is sites like the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post will be made invisible to Google, Ask.com, Bing, and others. Now, Google has already responded, saying Google News and web search are a tremendous source of promotion for news organizations, sending them about 100,000 clicks every minute, but if they tell us not to include it, we don't. Snarky Google. I like it. Now we're going to go into depth on Murdoch's decision and what it means for you in the internet later in the loop. And the iPhone has been infected by its first ever worm. What's being called the Ikea Worm changes the phone's wallpaper to a photo of 80s pop sensation and my man crush from the 80s, Rick Astley. The virus was created by one 21-year-old Australian named Ashley Towns, and it only affects jailbroken iPhones if the owner has not changed the default password. Currently, the worm hasn't been able to spread outside of Australia and won't cause your phone any harm, but some people fear that hackers could use the code for malicious purposes. To protect yourself from any possible hacking, you'll need to change your jailbroken iPhone's default root password, or just leave AT&T forever. You got a cold, and it was bad coverage. Independent company Laser Motive just won $900,000 for designing what could be the world's first space elevator. The Seattle-based company won NASA's Beam Power Challenge by powering a robotic machine via lasers that convert light into electricity and send the device up to 3,000 feet of cable. Now, while this is an awesome first step for a potential space elevator, the current prototype only climbs at a speed of 8 miles an hour. That's a long, long space ride. And I gotta pee. Look at a tiny little bladder. I can never use that. And finally, another sign that rich people are hurting from the bad economy. They now have their very own auction site when they're forced to sell off their rich people stuff because, let's face it, eBay is for poor people, Kenny. Billionaire Exchange, which launched today, allows the wealthy to pawn their yachts, jewels, cars, Italian castles, and other luxury items online. Now, before going live, the site's owners had already auctioned off over $180 million of merchandise in just the last 10 months. Now, if all this makes you excited to go bid on a boat or a Maserati, you might want to check your bank account because you'll need at least 2 million bones in verified assets to become a member. So poor. You've just been fed.
All right, as we just heard in the feed, News Corp head Rupert Murdoch wants to block sites like Google and the Drudge Report from accessing sites like the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post. So what does that mean for you and me and the internet at large? Well, that's what we're here to tell you. It's called The Loop. Joining me now from San Francisco to help us make sense of it all, staff writer for CNET News, Caroline McCarthy is here. How are you, Caroline?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Have you Googled your Wall Street Journal stories and whatnots today, or?
No, I really haven't yet.
No? Well, you better get on it quick, because Rupert says he's removing News Corp sites from Google. So how many sites is he actually talking about here? Have they been named specifically?
Well, he has said that this would be after he's put content behind a paywall. which he's been saying he'll do for quite a while. What's less certain is whether he will put everything behind a paywall, because if you recall, News Corp owns MySpace, it owns IGN, it owns Rotten Tomatoes, in addition to the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post and a ton of other newspapers around the world. I don't think he's going to put Rotten Tomatoes behind a paywall, but I don't know, he might be crazy enough, he might do it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it could happen there, but I mean, this paywall thing has been going on for years. Do you think he'll even actually ever put the Wall Street Journal behind the paywall?
Well, if you recall, a couple of years ago, when it was cool to get paywalls off of your content, he was saying he was considering taking the Wall Street Journal paywall off. Obviously, that didn't happen. And so now he's going all like Dr. Evil and saying that he's going to put a cloak of invisibility over it all. So you can never tell with this guy.
Has he purchased a hairless cat recently? Do we know?
Well, he's Australian, so I think he might have a hairless wallaby. You might want to see if any have been sold recently. I hear they're expensive.
Even more nefarious. Yes. And Google's getting all the attention here, but Murdoch is talking about, I mean, he's apparently we can't even ask Jeeves what content is behind that wall, right?
Yeah.
It's every search engine.
Well, Google obviously is the biggest player in search, although for the first time, and this is what makes it really interesting, Microsoft's Bing is a legitimate contender. And there are already some pundits saying that Murdoch could presumably strike a deal with a second or third tier search engine for some kind of exclusivity arrangement. If other big media moguls start to do that too, the entire search business could get really interesting.
Yeah,
that is, if it happens.
So he could potentially go to a Hotbot or a Dogpile or dig up Lycos and say, hey, you get the exclusive search rights to my websites. And therefore, that could set precedent, right? We could talk about other major content providers getting exclusive search deals with actual engines.
Yes. Well, I mean, it could theoretically happen. I don't think it will, because I think that Google does have a point. They are a big source of site traffic, like a huge source.
Right.
And so I think that some content owners who have a little more faith in advertising appreciate that. I think that News Corp does look a little bit paranoid in this situation.
Yeah, and how many people actually go to Google to find the Wall Street Journal and the Post? You know, they Google that,
Yeah.
they Google the .com instead of actually putting it in their address bar.
That's the thing, is that Murdoch can easily keep the Wall Street Journal behind a paywall because it's a brand. It was a brand long before he purchased it. People go to WSJ.com and pay for, you know, top-tier financial information that they've been getting in newspaper form for years. I think the bigger complications are when, news sources that are not as reputable and sort of mainstays as the Wall Street Journal try to go behind paywalls and people just stop reading them.
Right, so how does Rupert do this exactly?
Well, he amasses his army of sharks with laser beams on their heads and directs them to change a file in a website called robots.txt. I mean, people can do it too, not just sharks.
Sure.
But it's actually quite easy to get your site out of Google.
And so he could conceivably do this. If he were to do this, how long before you think he reverses course, before he realizes that people like searching for news and clicking on the link and getting the content that they actually search for? I mean, do you see this? Let's say he enacts this in another year or so. Does it last for 5?
You know, I think that that's one of the things getting in the way of why he might not do this in the first place, because it is so unproven and it has such high potential for failure. And I think that Murdoch would rather not look like he made a huge mistake.
And MySpace. I mean, really?
I don't think he'll put MySpace behind a paywall.
Okay, good. I had to make sure, because I mean, it's free as could be right now. They could pay me to use it, and even I'm not signing up for glitter graphics and Tila Tequila blog
posts. Because glitter graphics are priceless.
That is true. So if this happens now, who wins, who loses, Caroline? I mean, is this going to be a win for big old Rupert?
Well, the big win would be if he manages to, as some people are surmising, strike that deal with like Bing or Ask.com, because that would be a huge win for whatever that search engine is, because it would be a big hit to Google.
Yeah.
If Murdoch does this and it flops, obviously that's a big win for Google, because it shows just how powerful they are.
It's a slippery slope regardless, though. So
it's a very precarious situation.
Carolyn McCarthy from CNET.com, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And keeping us in the loop. Right now, let's go over to Olivia.
Mods, we got him. It's time to check this. If you've ever locked yourself out of your house and had to pay a locksmith who totally overcharges, by the way, to let you back in, then you're going to love this first DIY mod. I bring you the Secret Knock Detecting Lock. What's that, you ask? Well, it is a device that utilizes the Arduino microcontroller to recognize a pre-programmed knock at the door. Now, once the correct knock has been administered, the device will turn the lock and voila, you're in. Just don't forget your secret tapping. For complete instructions on how to make this magical contraption, head on over to grathio.com. Very cool. Remember back in the 90s when everyone talked about virtual reality and how awesome it would be?
Yes.
Well, here it is. Over at recombu.com, they've come to our rescue and invented the ViewMaster 2009. This homemade virtual headset. Shut up! It's a virtual headset that utilizes the accelerometer and compass of the HTC Magic mixed with Google Street View and a cardboard box. Now, hey, wait for it. Once pieced together and strapped on, the limited view of the HTC screen makes it seem like you are anywhere in the world. And I know it might look ghetto, but it also looks like a lot of fun. No, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Good old GPS has made the world much easier to navigate before. I was pretty much lost all the time. Kind of sucked. But now, some smart guy in France, whoever he is, has taken GPS and created the reverse geocache puzzle box. This gift box is designed to only unlock when brought to its pre-programmed location. By using AA batteries, a GPS unit, and Arduino controller again, you too could gift your friend with this puzzle box and get his lazy ass out into the world. If you want to be a huge jerk, set the destination to somewhere like Siberia. You'll love it. Go to arduino.org. Is it Arduino? Arduino? Oh. Anybody? Arduino? It is Arduino.org for instructions. Now, this last item I'm going to show you puts any DIY project you've ever attempted in your pitiful life to shame. All right? It's better than that cardboard thing, because that was awesome. Behold, the world's greatest treehouse! Yes! This 97-foot tall mammoth was built by a landscaper named Horace Burgess in Crossville, Tennessee. Now, he's used over 250,000 nails and spent only $12,000 to bring his masterpiece to life. In total, this mansion of your childhood dreams clocks in at 8,000 square feet. Now, you may be asking yourself why a 52-year-old man would ever build this awesome treehouse, but maybe you really shouldn't be worrying about that and just enjoy his childlike worldview. That's pretty awesome. That guy loves life. Just make sure you tell your parents where you're going first, because... Horace? Head on over to the all-new G14.com/AOTS for info on all these new releases and more. Stay tuned and batten down the hatches. That's what some people say. I would never, but it's Gadgetron's coming up.
This guy's trying to vault himself over the rooftop of someone's car. What happens next? Does he make it to the top? Does he break the car's window? Or does he slip up before even getting off the ground? We'll have the answer when we return. This guy's trying to vault himself over the rooftop of someone's car. What happens next? Does he make it to the top? Does he break the car's window? Or does he slip up before even getting off the ground?
Oh my
God. Yeah, we all know. White guys can't jump. We get it.
Today on Gadgetron, are you too lazy to move your media onto your TV?
Well, don't worry. Now it's pretty much effortless. Isn't that nice? Isn't that great? That's so good. Let's let Gadgetron explain.
Kevin, don't stop dancing. I have a question for you. Do you think it's possible for me to torrent something directly to my HDTV?
Didn't hear a damn word you said. I'm grooving. What's up?
I actually think it's possible. Check this out. Keep going.
Okay. What if you could digitize all of your media, drop it on a hard drive, then watch it in 1080p on your high-def television? MVix helps you realize that dream with the Ultio MX800 Media Center. It supports practically any HD video codec, streams video from your PC, and provides the full home theater experience through HDMI. You can even download straight from the built-in torrent client, all starting at $170.
So the MVI-X Ultia, which is different than the MVI-XR Ultia
Yep,
is more of a hybrid between a home theater PC and a network-attached storage. And we've seen how some of these stream to an Xbox or the PC, but we haven't really seen many that do both. So this is saying it does both. How well does it do it?
Okay, so at its core, this thing is just like it's a media storage hard drive for your home entertainment system, which means you can network between the old TO and your computer using a router, a wireless connection if you have an adapter, and that'll let you watch videos on your TV that normally you'd be watching on your desktop.
Yes.
Yeah, so beam your images to your television set. It supports tons of video codecs as well, MPEG, QuickTime Movies, AVIs. DivX is supported up to 1080p as well, which is nice. Setup is easy. You just plug it into your TV, use the HDMI cable, and then connect it to your computer, either using an Ethernet cord or, again, if you want to get the Wi-Fi adapter, you can do that.
Now, this means with this system, you don't have to burn your files to disk anymore, which is really awesome. But it doesn't look extremely user-friendly when I was going through it because of the PC-like interface. So do you think it's easy to navigate, or if you know PCs, it's better?
It's not impossible, but it ain't pretty. I mean, once you get into the system interface, you'll see it leaves a little to be desired. It's pretty bland, and it's similar to like navigating an FTP server.
But look at them moving in.
Look at giant ugly icons sliding in.
That's
all right.
Flash, right?
And it's glossy, so hey, at least the ass is reflective.
And that timer shows that it's thinking.
Yeah, and you do look at that a lot. I mean, it's not, you are looking at the hourglass.
Oh, it's taking a while.
Yeah, it doesn't take a long while, but you're constantly looking at it as you go from screen to screen.
I hate that feeling.
Navigation is done with the remote here, which is just slow for renaming files and doing certain actions. Despite that, file management is pretty easy. You can copy, paste, delete, and transfer your files between the old TO's hard drive and your computer, just like it were a regular external hard drive.
Okay, so it supports universal plug and play for things like Play On, which like the stream, the what is it, the Netflix?
Yeah,
and,
Play On lets you stream Netflix and Hulu.
all that stuff. Hulu, yeah. And so it comes with a built-in BitTorrent client. But how are these all working together with your PC when you're streaming content?
Okay, so here's the thing. You got a full BitTorrent client on this, which says, hey, look up any legal television show or movie you want and download it, right? That's how that should work. But you actually have to use your computer to set up the BitTorrenting that's taking place on this box. So you can't do it from the comfort of your couch. You still have to use your computer to make that happen. But it does do the torrenting for you, which is nice, so you free up your PC. But again, having to use your PC at all takes away from the computer-free experience. Now, when you're using things like Play On, you can stream Hulu and Netflix and even YouTube videos directly to the device. But now you're spending an extra $40 on a piece of software to do something that the box should really just kind of do.
Well, okay, it has HDMI out.
Yep.
So does that mean that everything is put out in HD?
No, absolutely not. No.
That doesn't make sense.
Well, look, it can do HD, of course. When dealing with HD content, it's 1080p. The picture looks amazing, obviously. But everything that's created for the web, which is the majority of the stuff you're watching here, as you know, it's low resolution. So when you stretch it, it upscales it kind of in software. It just really kind of zooms the software, or the software zooms the image. So looking at a thumbnail size image at a 52-inch screen, not so pretty when it's mostly being scaled in the software from what we can tell.
Okay, so it's $170.
Yeah.
But then I hear some other numbers rumbling around, so it's not just $170 for what you wanted to do.
Yeah, if you want to get Play On, that's
So
an
that's
extra
a lot,
$40 or so.
we're
You
looking at more
want to
money.
get a hard drive with it as well, so you're well over $200 if you really want to get this thing set up properly.
And especially you want to get stickers to decal and make
Yeah,
it
I mean,
pretty. There's a lot.
without racing stripes, this thing's going to take a little while to load. And you do want to have a coffee can USB exhaust sticking out of the back, so it's nice and throaty and loud. Let your neighbors know you're watching some high-def content.
So we're looking at a total of $17,000 for this.
17, give or take.
170, or what is it? Like now we're like at 210 with all the other little stuff.
Yeah, you're about
you
200
want.
bones with this system.
So is it worth it?
It's up to the buyer. I think overall, if you find yourself wanting to watch video files or streaming video on your television, and you have no other means of doing it, and you're really against
nothing else.
getting a 360 or a tin can and a string or whatever the hell the kids are doing, then yes, it's worth it.
Oh, that's a solid
Again, the
recommendation.
downside is that it doesn't come with a hard drive, so you need to purchase one separately. And if you already have a 360 or a PS3, you can use that to stream Hulu and Netflix, or run Connect 360 if you have a Mac, so everything streams nice and easy. I see it as a weird sort of middleware product that other products do.
Remember when we were watching Master P on your?
Yes, Master P's Guide to Internet Dating, one of the finest.
Netflix. I don't like how they buffer. That's very annoying.
Sometimes buffering happens.
Is there anything that's just completely perfect?
No, not really. I mean, that's your cable provider's
I say we wait
fault.
until 2020.
Okay, in 2020, we will watch
annoying
Master
to watch.
P's Finest on Netflix.
Okay, well, for this one, if you wanted to get it now, what are we rating it?
We're giving it a 3 out of 5. The video quality is excellent for HD content. File management, fairly easy to use. But at $170 on top of purchasing a hard drive, that's a bit steep for someone who won't be taking full advantage of this device.
All right, well, that's it. That's it for today's Gadget Prawn. But if you have a gadget you would like to see us rate, email us at gadgetprawn@g4tv.com. Now, Asian cinema has a long and proud history of people kicking each other in the face.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what we do.
It's what you guys do best, yeah. And here's Chris Gore and Jeff Wong with a closer
Kick in the
look.
face.
Oh!
Jeff Wong, Spin Fusion. This can mean only one thing. Asian Underground has returned. My esteemed colleague and Asian film expert Jeff Wong is here with an arsenal of new films from the East. What's up first?
The first movie we have is Iman. Now, Iman is a sort of biographical movie about the man who actually taught Bruce Lee Kung Fu. It stars Donnie Yen as Iman, and it takes place around the 1930s, 1940s when Japan actually invaded China. It shows how he went from a wealthy but humble master, and he sort of fell from grace into poverty, and what he had to do to survive.
And do we get to see like a young Bruce Lee in this film?
Actually, no. When researching the role, Donnie Yen and Wilson Yip actually found that his life was so extraordinary that they couldn't actually tell the whole thing in one film. So what they did was they just took a small chunk of it in hopes that they could make sequels. The movie was successful enough that as we speak, they're currently making a sequel, and I absolutely can't wait for it till it comes out probably sometime next year.
Now, you also brought an anime that is loaded with martial arts.
Yeah, the film is called Sword of the Stranger, and it's actually kind of more of an old-school samurai anime that we were used to in the 1980s. It follows a boy who encounters a samurai with no name. The boy is on the run from the Chinese Royal Army. The Chinese Royal Army kind of believes that if they use his blood, they can make sort of a potion that will give them eternal life. So he hires the no-name samurai to protect him, and it follows them on their adventure together.
Now, I noticed this one has a lot of that 3D, 2D hybrid.
It actually works really well in this film because they aren't highlighting the 3D aspects of it. Some of the location and environment pieces are using 3D to heighten the look of it without actually pointing it out. There are some scenes where if you look really closely, you can tell it's 3D, but if you're just watching it and enjoying the movie, then it doesn't really matter, and everything about the film is beautiful.
Some of the best live-action films are actually manga adaptations, like Samurai School, Be a Man.
Yeah, this film actually is set in modern times, but it's about a school that they send juvenile delinquents to, and in order to sort of learn self-discipline, they get taught in the ways of the samurai. Trouble occurs when a former student who's seeking revenge on the school after he got kicked out brings his new school, and there's this developing war going on.
And how is Sakaguchi as a director?
Taka Sakaguchi is actually really good. He got his start on Versus, which was directed by Ryuhei Kitamura. So for an actor who had no acting experience before he started, basically Kitamura found him fighting on the street and asked him to be in his movie. Well, now he's directing his own films. Anyone who is a fan of Ryuhei Kitamura's films will definitely enjoy this movie.
Jeff, can't thank you enough. As violent and bizarre as ever. Well played, sir. But that wraps it up for us from Spin Fusion. But I promise we'll be back with more from the Asian Underground.
I don't know if I've told you this, but I kind of like to think of myself as like a rogue swordsman in a strange land, you know?
Kevin, lightsaber replicas don't count as actual swords.
Yeah, but they light up the hallway when I need to pee in the middle of the night. I don't stub my toes. It just looks good.
Still ahead, I was recently made a UN ambassador. That's
not true.
Yes, I can.
It's not true.
Yes.
Now, a Peace Museum did dedicate something to you, but we'll tell you where you can see it and visit it. So stick around. You're not a UN ambassador.
Yeah, I am.
Wrong love tonight.
Coming up tomorrow on an all-new AOTS, we'll ride along with Morgan Webb as she gives us the final word on Modern Warfare 2 in an all-new game break. Plus, Chris Gore reviews Up and Watchmen, The Ultimate Cut in DV Tuesday. And Laura Vandervoort will be live in studio to talk about V. See it tomorrow. Welcome back. Yes, welcome back. Hey, Olivia.
Yes, Kevin?
Do you have something to tell us?
I do. Last March, I received an email from the International Museum of Peace and Solidarity in Uzbekistan, asking for a signed photo of myself and some well wishes for peace.
I'm sorry, Olivia, where exactly is Uzbekistan?
I'm glad you asked. Formerly a part of the Soviet Union, the Republic of Uzbekistan is located in Central Asia between Turkmenistan and Kazakhstan.
Okay, now you're just making stuff up.
And it shares the border north of Afghanistan. But just because they're in Asia doesn't mean they look Asian over there.
Oh, weird.
Anyways, we decided to send them a signed cardboard cutout of myself. And when they finally received it, they placed it in their museum with all the other well wishes for world peace.
Ah, yay! So what did you actually write on the cutout?
Oh, I wrote something like, I hope you like my rack or something like that. I don't know.
Something about Iraq?
No, something about my boobs. I'm like, I hope you like my boobs. I love you.
Oh! Olivia Iman, everybody. Ambassador of Peace, huh?
It's time for today's Epic Fail.
That wasn't it?
No, me not being able to say Kazakhstan.
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 It's fine. It's fine. We just lost 3 viewers. Look, I can get that parallel parking. It can be difficult.
Yes, it's very difficult.
But not this hard. Oh, what a lady. What a lady.
And 5 years later, she finally backed the car off the curb.
Just fail that parking job. That's so bad.
Go to the all-new G4TV.com/AOTS for all the things you guys saw today and more.
Huge thank you to our guest, Caroline McCarthy from CNET for coming on and chatting with Rupert Murdoch. X-Play starts right now. Enjoy the gaming goodness. Good night, everybody.
And I'm happy to be your new UN ambassador.
Oh, it's not. You're not in the UN.